Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us today. We've got Emily and Lauren. Lauren, you were part of the judging panel at last year's North East Contact Centre Awards. And we have the lovely Emily Simmons, who won and was up on the stage quite a bit last year. He won Support Superstar, I believe.
That's correct, yes.
Fantastic. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. What I wanted to do, Emily, is just catch up on you, your experiences of the North East Contact Centre Awards, and obviously get a little bit of input from Lauren as well. But just to kick off with, can you tell us a little bit about you and your role within the organisation?
Yeah, of course. So I am the Academy Manager within the Leeds Building Society Contact Centre. And I've been working for the Leeds Building Society for about 11 years, and every role that I've had in the society has kind of led me to do something like what I'm doing now, which is heavily people development orientated and just a real support function. So we're kind of like an enhanced environment following a formal induction training, where they would come to us following that classroom training and be supported in the live environment through live call reviews, through additional training, lots of interaction, lots of fun, lots of different ways of learning to enhance somebody in their role, and then they become signed off and join their team in the contact centre. But we support that kind of transition between induction training to actually being sort of fully competent in the role.
Okay, amazing. So you've just said there, obviously you've been with them for 11 years and it's always sort of ended up being this learning and development, but what sort of roles have you held over that time with Leeds Building Society?
I actually started in the department that I'm working in now. So I came in 2011 as a customer service representative, and it was primarily just savings-based, a savings-based role. So general queries, sort of inbound. And then I'd progress up. My plan was to come into the society and learn everything about all the types of products that we offer, being savings, insurance and mortgages. So I progressed from the savings role into an insurance role. I became part of the telesales team, but I was actually remote. So my team was based in Leeds and I worked in the Cobalt or the Silverlink at the time, the area that we worked in, on my own. And I'd travel to my team in Leeds probably once every 2 weeks to kind of keep in touch with them. And sold home insurance and short-term income protection. It was really, really good and insightful, but I'd wanted to still move and then venture into the mortgage side. So I actually became the very first mortgage assistant in the Leeds Building Society. And then from that, a trainee mortgage consultant role was developed, to which I was part of the first venture of. And then I became a fully qualified mortgage consultant. And the Leeds Building Society helped me to get my CMAP qualification to do that. And then did a complete 360 and came back to contact centre when there was a manager position available, because I wanted to kind of bring all of that knowledge of all the products together and kind of lead and develop a team the way that I'd kind of been led and developed. So that would be my journey.
Brilliant. So what inspired you to make an entry for the North East Contact Centre Awards then?
So pretty much the development of contact centre, because obviously I didn't enter for myself. You know, I think there was a couple that did my nomination, but obviously we went forward for a few other things. And just the general inspiration behind how the contact centre, so the department that I'm in now and have been for around 6 years, has developed and progressed. I think things like the fact that we've got a really strong and sort of flexible career pathway for colleagues, and digital teams. The academy team has progressed absolutely extensively throughout the last 6 years since I first joined, because I created it all back in 2016, and then we've developed it ever since, and it's just gone from strength to strength. Digital ways of working, you know, especially following the pandemic and how we adapted so quickly but successfully to it, you know, and that the level of engagement and morale that was still there from our teams, which reflected in, you know, general day-to-day activities and behaviours, but also our internal surveys as well. We had some really strong results. I think just a lot of that sort of stuff, but the fact that last year I became part of a project team around awards and recognition, And we were last in the North East Contact Centre Awards in 2012. I don't think we were up for many, it's a long time ago. And I don't think we got anything at that time. But I've always stayed so passionate about the North East Contact Centre Awards. And I just felt that it was the only route to go down, to say, we really need some recognition here. Do you think we can do it? Let's give it a go. And obviously we selected the North East Contact Centre Awards to take us on that journey. And I'm just so thrilled with some of the outcomes from it, you know.
Yeah, as you should be. You did really, really well. So obviously you said you didn't nominate yourself, understandably, but how did you feel when you had been shortlisted and you found out? What was that feeling like?
It was really lovely. You know, anybody who knows me well knows that I come in and do my job, and I absolutely love what I do, and I don't kind of expect anything necessarily as in recognition off the back of it, because I just love what I do. I love the people I'm talking to and I'm developing every day. I absolutely love an ideas factory of thoughts and suggestions, and that's what I tend to find I work really well with people. And I don't really, and we take all of those ideas and those thoughts and we turn them into things, right? Great. We've got some good outcomes. We have some things we still need to work on, but it's a constant ideas factory. And I just don't expect anything out the back of that for somebody to say, do you know what? You're pretty good at all that stuff and we need to shout about it a little bit more, because it's just what I like to do. I genuinely love doing that stuff, and I don't really think about all the other stuff from it. So it was really lovely. It was quite emotional, that the recognition came from a good few people, and
yeah,
you know, it was really nice to hear. Yeah,
good. So Lauren, over to you then. So, you know, Emily's just said how it felt to be shortlisted, but what stood out to you about Emily as part of the judging process?
Do you know what? Like, I probably haven't got long enough, because I think from when we spoke to Emily, like we came off the interview and we're like, wow, she's good, isn't she? And it was like almost that. And do you know what? Like, it was irrespective of what, she had great tangible results and she absolutely needed them to be part of this process. But I'm talking about Emily as a person. There was a sentence she said which stuck with me that said, if you cut me open, I bleed blue and yellow. And that comes in abundance. Like, it was almost like she gives you energy, she lifts you up, like you felt it, like even virtually you felt that energy. And I think we both said when we got off the call, we were just like, I'd have her in my team, definitely. Yeah. So I think it was like one of those where you remember somebody and you remember like that individual. Not only has she achieved amazing things and continues to do so, like, it is Emily as a person which really stood out for us.
Definitely. I can see why. Okay. So the judging process, Emily, tell me about that experience, because obviously you clearly did very well and Lauren said you came across really well, but from your perspective, what was that process like? Who was involved? How long did it take? Was there any preparation that you needed to do?
Oh, where do I begin? So it was quite a lengthy process, but more so for the fact that we were really, really keen to hit the ground running with the whole thing. So as part of the Awards and Recognition Project team, we kind of put together a timeline of events as to what sort of NECA looked like. And then we added in some of our own Leeds Building Society events into that as well, to say, you know, this is where we need to be prepared for rehearsals of digital interviews, or this is where we need to have selected however many people for however many categories. So there was a lot of preparation behind the scenes from it. We put together digital presentations. You know, the good old PowerPoint presentation skills came out, but we've incorporated some of the digital ways of working that we've adapted with since the pandemic, and used some sort of other virtual ways of preparing for the interviews and the judging. We got 23 members of the contact centre team involved in the overall showcase piece. So I think the buy-in and the volunteering right from the get-go, I think it was from around April time last year, was so essential. so that we had that consistent chain of events and the consistent communication between people, so that we were really prepared come the end of the judging process overall. But I think there was a comment on the following the showcase piece on the judging to say they were quite blown away with how many people we got involved in the engagement levels. So it was really nice to see, because everybody enjoyed it as well, you know. But yeah, it was quite a lengthy process, but more from our point of view to be thoroughly prepared at every single stage to do the digital interviews and yeah.
So obviously we went through the run up to the whole process, the judging, the preparation that you and all of the team put into it. So you were there on the night. Tell me about the awards evening. What was that like? How did that feel?
It was amazing. It was amazing. And I've been to the Necker Awards a few times, once as a kind of just a guest, and I went on my own, and that was an experience. And then, like I said, we went in 2012, the last time Leeds Building Society were in there. And it was just so nice. I remember the buzz from it all those years ago, and it was exactly like that. And it just was absolutely fabulous to be a part of. From the minute you arrived, with the entertainment, the fire breathers, you know, the welcome drinks, it was just fantastic. And to start networking as well between, you know, other organisations out there, getting to meet some more of the judges, you know, face to face as opposed to digital. It was just a real good feel throughout the night. The team that we brought across with us, they were just buzzing throughout the whole evening. The excitement was just never ending. It was nice that obviously, and I did remember from the last time that you would sit organisations together, which obviously makes sense to do so, but it was just nice to then have our tables together and really feel the excitement between us, and you know, celebrate the successes each time, you know, we got these awards, which was just amazing.
Emily, when your name was called and when the organisation kept being called, what was that like?
Oh, I felt sick, but it was a good sick. I just screamed the entire night. It was just incredible, because, you know, it was almost like a 10-year anniversary of when we were last in there. And we were pretty much thinking, well, we're newcomers, you know, it was amazing enough to be shortlisted. And we honestly just felt, okay, that's us. We're probably not going to get anything out of this, but the shortlists have been amazing. We're all here. We're all celebrating. It's fantastic. To hear the names of some of the individuals and the groups and the overall contact centre, we're still celebrating. It's just phenomenal. I mean, we didn't want the celebrations to end. We hosted a mini replica awards evening here in the contact centre, where, because obviously you can be a bit limited as to how many people you can bring on the awards evening, we still wanted to make sure everybody in contact centre could get involved. And we hosted an awards evening here, which was really fun, with entertainment and table centerpieces and everything, and it was just fantastic. And it's because of the buzz of the evening and the build-up of the whole thing from April through to November. I think that's something we really loved about the whole Necker Awards as well. It's like a full year experience almost, as opposed to just a couple of months. You really feel part of what's happening. You know, you never feel like you're just sitting on the sidelines. You really feel like you're totally a part of Necker, of the whole experience. So it's just amazing. We're still celebrating.
As you should be. So obviously you said you went and you took it on and did it in the contact centre, which is fantastic, you know, bringing it to life for everyone. But what does that mean to you as an organisation? You, your team, what do these awards really mean to you guys?
So I think, you know, for the teams and the organisation, first and foremost, it's such validation for the guys that are working relentlessly during some really difficult times over the last few years, to say your hard work absolutely pays off, as if we don't tell them enough anyway. But, you know, to see it in lights on a big stage with a lovely trophy that we just parade around the office daily. You know, to have people come into the office and take pictures, and you know, they really feel like their hard work's paid off, and so they should, because they have worked their socks off. You know, there's been some real highs, some real lows. We are a family through and through. So for the organisation, it's some real recognition and validation. And, you know, we've had that support from throughout the society and the industry since doing this. And, you know, director level, our chief executive, you know, the support has just been phenomenal, and I think it's been fantastic for our teams, our organization, and for me as an individual, you know, it takes us back to what we were talking about earlier about, you know, how did it feel. It's still, I'm still just so excited about the fact that I've been recognized at that level. Never did I think it would have happened, you know. Shortlist, like I said, I felt really, really happy with that. Never, ever did I think that this would have been the case. And then it just seems to open a few doors for you, which is amazing. You know, I want to be more present in the overall industry from this, and I'm making some really good connections. Lauren, who's just been amazing throughout the whole thing, has really kindly offered some mentoring for me following this award, which is just amazing, and I'm so excited. And as soon as we've got objectives nailed on, then I'll be sharing that with Lauren, and we'll hopefully go on a new journey. And I'm hoping to become part of the judging process for this year's awards, which is really, really exciting. So we're just waiting for a couple of things there. So for me, the excitement just never ends. It's phenomenal to have got what I got. You know, I am really proud of everything I've done. I still just love everything I do. I'm incredibly proud of the organisation that I work for, and I'm really excited as to what it's going to bring.
It sounds like it's a super exciting time for you, Emily, which is great. So lastly, and I think this is a question for both of you, obviously you've talked about the lovely experience you've had and the doors it's opened and what opportunities it can bring. So what advice would you give to people who are thinking about entering this year's North East Contact Centre Awards?
Lauren, do you want me to go first?
Go on, you can go first. Yeah.
I would just say preparation is absolutely key. And this timeline of events that I mentioned earlier on worked really, really well for us. We were so organised with things in our diaries, you know, all throughout the year, where we had plenty of time at those points to be able to make sure we were doing certain things. So making sure the nominations were in the process of being written, to make sure they were submitted on time, to make sure that we were getting guidance from people when we needed guidance, to make sure we were attending any of the virtual NECA meetings. So things like when the toolkits were launched and talking about the criteria, talking about best practice, you know, attending all of those. And just kind of working through that timeline of events throughout the year. I think that really, really helped us. I think writing a nomination, I think there's I took some really, really good feedback from the best practice sessions from NECA earlier in the year, to say, when you're writing it, kind of have in the back of your head, so what? So whatever you are writing, imagine somebody just saying to you, okay, so what? Bring that meaning and the results and the evidence to life, and tell your story, and bring all the passion behind it as well. If you're nominating individuals or the department, do not be afraid to use any sort of you know, positive reinforcing words to really explain how you truly feel as an organisation or about an individual, to absolutely show what they are. So that would be what I would say.
Excellent advice. Thank you so much, Emily. And Lauren?
I mean, how do I add to that? So it's kind of like, she's probably like ticked off all of the boxes, to be fair. But yes, certainly for us, when categories are so strong and you can sit and just take the results on their own and go, well, everybody's so different, everybody does a different role, everybody's got a result in their own right. Certainly when you get to that stage of the competition, because you've narrowed it down at that point. I think what really stands out for us that you have to work on is the story. If you don't have a story and you don't have a so what, then you're going to struggle to be remembered. And I think that's the key thing. When we see so many people, you have to have that memorable piece of information, what makes you unique and what makes you different. And I know Emily certainly had that for us, and that's what works so well for Emily. And I think that would be my advice to everybody else. Stick to your story, what makes you you, and don't be afraid to bring that personal element, because like I've said before, it's always the person as well as the result. It has to be. And that's what makes you stand out for these awards.
Amazing. All right, well, guys, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you taking some time out and answering my questions, and hopefully we'll see you very soon.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
See you later.